Okay, good evening, everyone. Happy New Year in terms of the uh, Montgomery County chapter program here. Raise a or show of hands, first time being at an in-person meeting. Okay, so three, welcome. Four, round of applause for our new members. And then we have around 30 to 40 and counting join us virtually and the comfort of their own home. So we thank you for being here as well. Okay, last time we were down here was for our December holiday special event. We had a toy drive with toys that went towards Montgomery County Toys for Tots, as well as the County Family Service Organization. They were happy that we dropped off a full carload. So thanks to all of you for being so generous in the holiday season. Okay, everybody should have raffle tickets. Our summer virtual education day, we were lucky enough to have Dr. Amy Hamilton join us for a fireside chat, and she graciously donated some signed books. So if everybody wants to find their ticket numbers, we'll have our featured speaker draw the numbers. The first one will be the project manager, life as a project. And the last three is 706. Great. Hey, you come for your first meeting, you get a signed book. That's a good deal. And then our second book is the Consummate Communicator. While we're waiting for that, as a side note, back in November, I was lucky enough to have somebody marry me, and she just snuck in the back. Sometimes you think you're seeing things, and you're not. So, Dr. Groff and her amazing son Eli want to stand up for a round of applause. Yeah. Okay, back to the regularly scheduled programming, and the last three is 718. Hey, and one of the unique offerings that we deliver is signed books to raffle off at every chapter in person event. So we realize some of you can't make it in person, but we do try to reward the in person. I think professional associations in post pandemic are just, you look at networking a little bit different, but we do appreciate getting people here on the first Wednesday of the month. Okay, next Wednesday, the Frederick National Laboratory for Cancer Research, partnering with Hood College, one of the great universities in Frederick County. They did have a partnership with PMI Baltimore, and we had an exciting opportunity to partner with them. So they've been running a project management night out on the second Wednesday every quarter. They're not taking our Wednesday, so that's nice. So when they approached us to partner, we were excited. And their first event of 2026 is next Wednesday. It just so happens that our most tenured speaker that our chapter has had, Mr. Carl Pritchard, is their guest speaker discussing storytelling as a powerful business practice. So if you don't have plans next Wednesday and the weather holds up, $20 gets you soft drinks and heavy hors d'oeuvres. I'll be there. I'm not sure if that's good or bad for you, but yeah, it should be a good partnership, and we're excited to partner with both those organizations. Okay, Project Management for Change has their annual Project Management Day of Service event. You've seen that in our newsletters that got you here. That'll be 2 Saturdays from now, February 21st. the Saturday after President's Day weekend, and that's an all-day event at the Student Union at University of Maryland. Where the Jim Henson Kermit the Frog statue is, that building. They did have a registration deadline at the end of January, but that's been extended because they're still in need to make sure they have as much project management expertise to work with the nonprofits and small businesses that will be on site looking for, they're going to bring a problem or something they can't quite get over the hump on within their business. And you get to work collaboratively with them and some other project managers in the area for a day of scoping. So if you've heard of a scopathon, this is essentially a scopathon. There is a small charge, which is basically a landing fee, but raise your hand if you've ever been a volunteer in the past. Okay, a couple of us. So if you're on the fence and not sure if, I know there's some insecurities of, oh, I'm not that well versed in all project management, just my niche, but you still bring something to the table, but we're happy to talk to you after the event. Okay, our next chapter event, when we're back down here, the first Wednesday of March, will be March 4th. The featured presentation will be Embedding Quality in Projects. Quality management and project management are synonymous. The latest edition of PMBOK version 8 has a whole section on quality still. So if you don't see the correlation or want to refresh, this is a great presentation for you. Mr. Marcus Parker has been past president of the Silver Spring chapter, past board member of the Montgomery County chapter, and he's presented to us 5 or 6 times. He's also adjunct professor at Morgan State University, and one of his students, Chindu, is here with us. So a round of applause for him. And he'll come up and give a quick elevator pitch for himself. Welcome.
Thank you. All righty, how you folks doing? Well, my name is, I'm going to be myself. Good evening. My name is Giglio projecting because I'm a speaker. I love to speak. I am a dual degree holder at the illustrious Morgan State University. First degree is speech communications, with my second degree in management, also PhD. My professor, Marcus Parker, told me to come today. I have been to the Silver Spring chapter before. So come today, meet everybody, as well as shameless plug, tell a little bit about myself and my current projections. I formerly worked for the National Institute of Health in the All-Month program, which takes around precision medicine research institute, and we're looking for a cohort to figure out to represent those who are underrepresented in biomedical research. Worked there for about 3 years. Unfortunately, due to government attrition, I had to make some pivots. But I have some wonderful news for you all today. I am currently open and available for work in the project management space. I do have a bit of experience doing work in project management. That's what I was doing there at the National Institute of Health. But for those who don't know my professor, I just want to say 1 or 2 things about him. He's an awesome professor, and he was like my freshman orientation professor, and he is the only professor that I keep in contact with. And he makes it his business to make sure that his students are pushing themselves to represent themselves outside of the university, so on and so forth. This is why I'm here. So thank you all, and if you have time to come next month, please come and see him speak. He's awesome. And if you have any availabilities, I am here with hot, fresh resumes. Thank you.
Thank you. And that registration will be up first thing tomorrow morning, and we'll get a newsletter out. So it should be another good event, and hopefully we can take down this weird little privacy wall and have the whole room. Okay, a few weeks ago, I had the privilege and honor of having moderating a fireside chat with Mr. Jesse Fuel. He's the global chair for the Project Management Body of Knowledge. Last November, they just came out with all of your active PMI accounts have PMBOK version 8. I know you were at the edge of your seat waiting for it to be released to read those 430 pages of updated content. And the hard copy just came out that you can buy it on Amazon. It makes a lovely gift. Good on on a serious note, a good, hour conversation about how body of knowledges get updated, why I challenge him a little bit on the actual PMP exam isn't just based on this, it's how project management's done. But I think project management's done so diversified right now that if you don't have a study guide for the test, how does every answer aim right? So are we setting our prospective PMPs up for failure? So good conversation. That's on our chapter YouTube channel. So if you need PDUs, I think we caught everybody's PDUs up. So we apologize for being late on that at the end of last year and look forward to having a good grade record this year with at least a 48-hour turnaround. So PMI Global changed the process a little bit. But we're one of the few chapters in the entire world that puts 95% of our content for on-demand access. So if you miss a meeting, if a topic looks interesting, if you weren't interested by a topic, then you remember, oh, like now I'm actually doing that, let me watch this, that they're available. Special thank you. So February is the month of love. That's why there's hearts in the background. So the most important anniversary should be all of our long chapter members' anniversary with this chapter. So we have a few who have been a member since 2006 who just hit their 20-year mark. So a round of applause for them. And then another handful that have been members since 2011. So a happy 15-year anniversary to them. And for our members who just signed up this past year, we look forward to still being here 15 and 20 years from now. Maybe not in this room, but we'll see. So, okay, we're also one of the few chapters that has a sister Toastmaster group in the entire world. So we welcome their leadership representation to share a little bit about that. We can all be better public speakers, mainly myself. So you're never too seasoned to be a great public speaker. So, round of applause for them.
Thank you. Thank you. Good evening, everyone. My name is Alan Zheng. I serve as the Vice President of Membership at the PMI-Montgomery County Toastmasters Club. It's so lovely to see you again, especially after this long and unforgettable cold weather. My colleague, Supreet, our VP of Education, and I would like to wish you a Happy New Year. You might be thinking, hey, Alan, this is already February. True, because we didn't get a chance to say it in January. But there's another new year just around the corner. The Chinese New Year begins in about 2 weeks, February 17th. And this year marks the year of horse. Yes. So in Chinese culture, horse represents energy, speed, freedom, and forward momentum. Many expressions, including the word horse, are often about taking the lead, accelerating the progress, and arriving successfully at your destination. In other words, this year is a year of action and growth. So from all of us at our Toastmaster Club, we wish you a year that is filled with confidence, progress, and success, both personally and professionally. Now, the program will continue after this short message.
Thank you, Alan. Good evening, everyone. As Alan talked a little bit about our Toastmasters group, I am again Supreet Kaur. I am the VPE of Education with the PMI MC Toastmasters Club. And just to give a quick brief plug. We have our meeting coming up next week on Zoom, and we meet the second and fourth Wednesday online on Zoom at 7 o'clock, and then the third Wednesday at Rockville Library at 7 o'clock. And if anyone is interested, please stop by and see Alan and myself, and we can give you guys more information if you'd like to join us for a meeting.
Okay, PMI Global has been a little quiet to start the year, but their big online expo event it used to be all day. I think one year it was 2 days. Now it's a 5-hour block, but that's still 5 PDUs to be gained. Registration's open for that. So if you stay tuned on our newsletter, and we'll have the links up leading up to late March. But it's always good to see kind of what they're focused on in terms of global project management and a good speaker lineup. And it's free. So. Our chapter scholarship program is now accepting applications. This is for graduating high school seniors in May this academic year, going into college in the fall. So there's a $1,500 open scholarship that our Vice President of Special Programs, Mr. Jim Stucco, works with the guidance counselors and all the high schools in Montgomery County. There's also a open scholarship for family members of chapter members. So that's a smaller drawing pool, even despite our 2,000 chapter base. So stay tuned for that. Still a good month and a half of that being open. Okay, our sister chapters are, a few are going through some leadership transitions, so not a whole lot of events yet, but we expect at our March meeting there'll be more. So PMI WDC has a book club event next Wednesday. So if you can't make it to the in-person event in Frederick, there's a virtual book club event for coaching habits, say less, ask more, and change the way you lead. So this is from a coach's perspective, but it's not designated for coaches to read. I think we can all relate to that subject matter, and that's also free. And then Baltimore and Silver Spring are coming out with some great content for the spring. Okay. We're very honored to move to our featured presentation, so I'll get off stage. Julia is here with us. She's a sustainability advisory consultant at Cohn-Resnick. She's also a graduate of the Robert Smith School of Business, which is one of the most prestigious business schools on the East Coast. She has intern experience at the National Cancer Institute, born and raised in the great state of Maryland, and future PMP, and also a future certified green project manager, and you'll hear what that is. So welcome.
Hi, everyone. I don't have a clock up here, so I'm going to have my phone up here so I don't take up too much of your time. Do I have my slides? Oh, okay. Perfect. Okay. Hi, everyone. Good evening. Thank you for those of you in person for braving the cold weather. For those of you online, you definitely made the right choice. It was very slippery out there. So I'll try to be cognizant timing wise and keep it under an hour so y'all can get out of here. I am a consultant by trade, so I have very few slides and a lot to talk about. So I will do my best to stay on track, but hopefully what I'm saying will be as engaging as what's on the slides. So today I just put together some learning objectives for you all, but to give you a little bit more of my background, I am a University of Maryland graduate. I came out with 3 degrees. I studied international business, French, and supply chain management. So that's 2 bachelor's and a master's. Definitely enjoyed my time at UMD. And since then, I've been with Cohn-Resnick as a consultant. I'm currently a senior consultant on the sustainability advisory team. And my team specializes in helping companies figure out what they're going to do to meet sustainability regulations. And that includes GHG inventories, social programs, and general well-being of employees. I think there's a disclaimer as well at the beginning of these meetings in general that these are opinions of my own, not my firm. I'm not here to sell CohnReznick or be a true consultant up here. If you do want to talk about that later, let me know. But this is really just a passion area of mine because I think it's hard to get into sustainability without having some passion in it. So today we're going to talk about the business case for sustainability, what sustainable project management looks like, and go through a case study, which I know you're all super excited about. As a kind of teaser, the case study is based on a real world example that I had to work through, which was really cool. So I hope you enjoy it. And then we'll just wrap up with some takeaways of what I'd like you to remember. So first and foremost, when you say the word sustainability or the dreaded acronym ESG, which stands for environmental, social, and governance, usually people glaze over. No one really knows what that looks like, what that means. It usually is someone's out in the rainforest chaining themselves to a tree, or they're kind of trying to make sure that their company is not printing as many documents. But in my world, sustainability is a lot more than that. Sustainability looks like reducing your carbon footprint. It looks like improving your business model. It looks like improving your cost savings and avoiding really serious regulatory problems. So I picked a couple of articles here from two of my favorite sources, which is just Forbes and Trellis. If you haven't already gotten subscribed to Trellis, it's from GreenBiz. And they have some really great articles that come out, and there's a newsletter that comes out. Shameless plug, because I love reading it. But these articles are really here to highlight the back and forth nature, the seesaw effect of sustainability and green initiatives just over the last couple of years. So a lot of companies have moved from a carrot to a stick mentality with sustainability. It used to be a let's do this because the planet is dying. Now it's, oh my gosh, the regulators have caught up. We have to do this now or we're going to get fined. So it's really important to look at this from both ends of the spectrum. If you're self-motivated, if your company's self-motivated, that's fantastic. Love it. Great to hear. But for the most part, a lot of companies are pivoting towards having to be more sustainable because if they don't, they're going to get fined pretty heavy dollar amounts. Why does this matter to you guys as PMs? Like, this sounds like a very high corporate exec level decision. Well, these disclosures that are being required are across the globe, first of all. So this is a really fun map that I have. It's a little hard to see up on the screen, but it basically highlights all of the global landscape of sustainability disclosures. So it's really to highlight that no matter where you go, you cannot escape that at some point in some country, depending on how your company is structured, someone, whether it's an investor or a PE firm or some other individual or entity that's part of your organization, is going to ask about sustainability disclosures. And in the United States in particular, I just had this slide to highlight some of my favorite ones, I guess. I don't know if that's a good way to say it. But the California rules are currently on pause right now. These are the most hot topic ones in the United States because any company doing business in the state of California, no matter your, well, over 500 million, but that's not really what we're here to discuss. If you do any sort of business, you sell a single screw in the state of California, you are required to submit your scope 1 and 2 inventory and make carbon disclosures. That's a really big deal to a lot of companies who haven't had to think about what their carbon footprint looks like, what their GHG inventory looks like, or anything like that. Wrong way. There we go. Okay, so that brings us to sustainable project management. So I hope a lot of you recognize this kind of lovely iron triangle on the side of cost, time, and scope. This is something that's very normal for PMs to look at. I am not a PM yet, but I know about this. I've seen it everywhere. It's very important that whenever you're doing a project, you look at your time, cost, and scope. The problem with sustainability is that sustainability is not directly ingrained into the iron triangle. So it's very hard to choose where you're going to shove the ES&G aspects into your product or project lifecycle. Why it matters for sustainable project management is that in order for a company to hit its initiatives, whether it's greenhouse gas reductions, better well-being for employees, it starts with the actual work that's being done, the operations, the projects that are being run. So it's super important for project managers to understand what the long-term implications are of making sustainable decisions that also align with cost, time, and scope. I'm just going to keep my finger on the other button. There we go. Okay. Hey, Matt. I don't know where he is. I fear that there are 7 of these, not 4. So I think my slides are messed up. I don't know where Matt is. That's okay. Okay, we'll start with our top 4. I do have an hour, but I didn't anticipate technical difficulties. My apologies, everyone. Okay, so we can jump right into the first 4. The first one, which is really just defining your sustainability goals. This is challenging because you either have to start from the top or start from the bottom. A lot of organizations struggle to get started with sustainability objectives because the company executives will say, okay, we have to reduce our GHG inventory by 23%. Great, fantastic. What does that mean? How do you measure that? What am I supposed to do about that? That's way outside of my pay grade. That's what the usual response is with a lot of the clients that we have and a lot of just organizations in general is this is a very expensive endeavor that does not have tangible results. So it's usually better to have some sort of cross-organizational, cross-functional discussion where, yes, C-suite executives are very much involved, but there is also some sort of discussion with grassroots efforts, whether it's the actual employee engagement groups that are within your company, or there's another initiative that's kind of locally grown where someone has a really great pet project. So typically we'll have to do some sort of materiality assessment, but when you're planning a sustainable project, you want to know what your company's goals are. You don't want to plan a project that maybe it asks you to reduce carbon emissions, but then you decide to install new bathrooms somewhere. So you have to kind of be able to understand what your organizational goals are to align your project goals. Very similar to actual project management, just with a sustainable spin. The second part is engaging with your stakeholders, which we already kind of talked about a little bit with making sure that you're having a cross-functional discussion with a very collaborative approach. One of the biggest parts of project management that I sometimes feel aligns with sustainability is you can be very siloed when you're inside of a PMO office and you're kind of trapped and stuck and pulled out of the PMO to work on subject matter expertise as it comes along. Some of you might be lucky enough to have niches already that you're very, very well skilled in and you're very knowledgeable on. But a lot of times you'll end up managing a project that you don't really know what the product is. You just know the timeline, what's expected. You have your subject matter experts. So again, having the same time to engage with your stakeholders and really understand what is needed for the project is super important. Then we have a sustainability assessment, which can look like a lot of things depending on what exactly you're trying to accomplish. The most common version of this is really the materiality assessment, which is exactly what it sounds like, determining what is material to your company and to what the project is. And what that usually looks like is identifying, once again, with your stakeholders, interviewing them and building a matrix that shows you what is important and where it's important. And again, with the actual project that you're doing, if your project is to complete and sorry, hopefully Matt's coming back with my slides. All good. And what that can usually look like is identifying your top 2 to 3 priorities. If this is done at the organizational level, that's definitely preferable. But if not, you can do it on your own, just at the project level. The next step is that sustainability plan, which is an SMP, very similar to a PMP. And a lot of these 7 steps that I have up here, they are very much aligned with how you actually plan a project. So a sustainability management plan also includes how you are going to improve your company's sustainable standards or objectives or help achieve them, whether that's some sort of GHG retention or, reduction or increasing the diversity at your company or doing something else. I am stuck until I see the rest of my slides. I did my best. Thank you. Yes, yes. Is that the PDF? No? Okay. Perfect. Thank you so much, Matt. Appreciate you. Sorry, everyone. Those, I'm serious. It's a little bit harder to read too. I'm so sorry for the people in the back. Just get your binoculars out or something. Okay, perfect. So then we're on to step 5, which is your sustainability breakdown structure. So that's your work breakdown structure. Exact same thing, but with the sustainability spin on it. And that can kind of look like a lot of different. I feel like sometimes when you do something by the book with the PMBOK, it doesn't always look like that in real life. So for me, a sustainability, an SBS, SBS will look like, okay, my overarching goal is to reduce GHG emissions. So that means that first I have to measure those GHG emissions, which means I have to know what we're emitting. I need to know what electricity is in there. So now I have to go all the way down to the level of I'm talking to my facility manager and identifying what electricity amount is being used in that building. And that's an example of how I would use an SBS. And then, of course, 6 and 7 are just kind of monitoring sustainability as the project's delivered. So you're constant monitoring and constant improvement. When you first start integrating sustainability into project management, it's very difficult to not feel like you're going overkill. So when you start off with thinking about how you can reduce your emissions or integrate diverse populations, etc., it's important to remember not to go too crazy in the first couple of rounds because it's an iterative process, just like project management is. Any questions so far? All good. I must be doing a great job. Okay, so in order to get to the actual project integration of sustainability initiatives, we have 2 different commonly used frameworks. I'm going to back up a little bit so I can kind of get out of the way of these people. So the first one is PRISM, and the other one is P3. Sorry, not P3, P5, because it's based off of P3. I prefer P5, so I'm probably going to spend a little bit more time on that because I feel like it's a little bit easier to have a checkbox mentality than a straight project flow. Because again, as projects progress, it's very easy to start and then get halfway through and then restart at a step or something like that. So with the PRISM mentality, that's projects integrating sustainability methods. It starts with the definition, design, delivery, and handover. So this is really integrating sustainable design into your project. And I think the most important part of the PRISM methodology is looking at the design feature, which includes integrating different pieces of sustainability. So if you work in procurement or you work in sourcing or packaging, you might look at eco-friendly materials. If you work in manufacturing, you might want to focus more on energy efficiency. And if you work with people and humans and you're either in like a hospital situation or healthcare or childcare or teaching, usually you want to do more social impact. So you want to choose the sustainability initiative idea that aligns with what the project's actually doing. Like I said earlier, don't force something that doesn't make sense. It's always good to think about environmental, social, and governance as the 3 pillars of sustainability, but you don't have to hit all 3 in the same go. You can do one, you can do another, you can keep building on that and keep building those practices and get to constant and continuous improvement. The P5 standards, which is why I think I like it more from a check the box perspective, is built off of the triple bottom line, which is an old is the wrong word, previously a seasoned is a good word to say it. Seasoned is a great way to say it, which is the triple bottom line of people, planet, and profit. So this triple bottom line is very well known as kind of a very early sustainability mentality, kind of along the lines of corporate philanthropy. So corporate philanthropy then became ESG, which became sustainability, which became greening, which became greenwashing, and now we're back on sustainability. So it doesn't really matter what you call it, as long as you have the core principles, which are these P5, and trying to balance these P5 components alongside the iron triangle is very, very tricky. But all of you are project management, and you know that no one's truly happy at the end of a project. As long as you get there eventually and continue to improve, that's the best way to go about it. So with the P5 standards, I think the most important ones here are really making sure you're doing the process and then performance piece. So one of the tricky things with sustainability is actually proving you did something. So you can say, oh my gosh, we hired X, Y, and Z individuals in this working class, or we did GHG inventory reductions by this percentage. If you can't prove it by showing a clear and documented process and then actually publicizing it and making sure that your performance is being shown and documented, then it's very difficult to justify that longer term. Companies nowadays are a bit more hesitant to publicly publish things. So if you can't publicly publish, go ahead and put it in a Word document, save it for later, because you never know what case study is going to come up longer term and be able to be a shining example for your company as the world adjusts to and fro with sustainability being a priority or not a priority. Yes.
AI efficiencies that you guys have noticed that are more unique to sustainability versus just overall project management? What?
Yeah, the question, I'm going to repeat the question to make sure I understood it, but have I noticed any efficiencies with AI in the world of sustainability, kind of like how it's been used in project management? Yeah, so AI is definitely a tricky subject because AI relies on data centers that have an incredible amount of water usage, space usage, noise pollution, et cetera, et cetera. But I think in my experience with AI, it's a tool, not a replacement. So if you are using it to augment a process or you're using it to improve your reporting capabilities, then it's a great tool. One of the greatest ways that I'm seeing it being used is with invoice automation. So we'll have clients, companies, people who say, I want to do a GHG footprint. And for us, that looks like, okay, give me all of your utility bills and we'll take them, key in every single kilowatt hour consumed during an entire year and multiply it by some emission factors. Boom, that's your footprint. An AI data model can read that in less than 20 minutes if it's trained properly. And that saves a lot of time, energy, and effort so that instead we can focus on making sure that we are calculating things correctly, looking for errors, and then building on how we're going to reduce that footprint instead of burning oil trying to actually get the footprint in the first place. So that's where I'm seeing efficiencies with sustainability. Thanks, Matt. Any other questions? Perfect. Okay. I think I'm going a lot faster than I thought I was going to, but here we are. So I brought a case study today because everyone loves a case study. I went to the Smith School of Business. Every single week we had a case study. So we're going to talk about Poplar's packaging. So I have this case study up here that I will read out loud and kind of add some things in. And then on the next slide, I have a bigger version of it for the people in the back because I know that it's really far back there. So Poplar Manufacturing is based in the United States and specializes in drone technology used by the military for reconnaissance. Over the last year, Poplar's leadership has expressed interest in reducing waste and the company's carbon footprint in preparation for increased scrutiny of the company's operations. The business model of Poplar is that drones are ordered by the customer directly from Poplar and manufactured in-house, then delivered to the customer's warehouse or directly to the field in Pelican cases. Does everyone know what a Pelican case looks like? It's that case right there. So a Pelican case, and this is why I want to give a little bit more context because I know that not everyone's on the same playing field. So a Pelican case is a pre-manufactured special secure box that is used for shipping specific types of equipment. Typically, you'll see them used with sound recording, videography, things that have to get to certain places in really good condition, otherwise it won't work. So with these drones in particular, they have to be transported very carefully because, as it says here, the customer's warehouse or directly to the field, sometimes Poplar is dropping these out of the backs of helicopters. So it needs to be a very specific, secure Pelican case. Upon receipt, the customer typically activates the drone and keeps the Pelican case for miscellaneous storage and discards the inserts into the garbage. Poplar is responsible for the cost of shipping the product to the customer. The Pelican cases themselves are $300 to $500 per case and come with sculpted styrofoam inserts to protect the technology. As we've discussed, these are thrown out of helicopters. The manufacturer, which is based in Asia, has informed Poplar that prices will likely increase by 20 to 30% next year due to import tariffs. Very common problem for a lot of my clients right now. Jane Doe who is all of you, is a project manager in Poplar's procurement and packaging department. Jane has 1 year and a budget of $500,000 to reimagine Poplar's packaging, the materials, process, sourcing to achieve cost savings, reduce the company's carbon footprint, and maintain Poplar's reputation as a reliable manufacturer. So I'd like to invite you all as tables to take a few minutes and think about what the potential benefits and drawbacks are of a sustainability-focused approach to helping Jane achieve her goals of achieving cost savings, reducing the company's carbon footprint, and maintaining Poplar's reputation. Any questions? Perfect. I'll give you all 10 minutes or so. So we'll come back together at 8:25, and I can walk around a little bit too if there's any questions. This is the same information, just bigger. I'm really sorry. We get the phone around that? No, okay. Yeah, okay, that's fine. No, don't worry.
Oh, you mean this? Yeah.
Yeah, let's do that. I think people. Alrighty, is everyone ready? Perfect. Alrighty. Change of plans. Matt is actually going to come around with the phone so the people on the watching can still hear, and you don't. No one has to stand up here with me very awkwardly. Okay. Does anyone want to go first?
All right. So the three things we have to reimagine are the materials, the process, and the sourcing. And so looking at it, first of all, let's talk about sourcing. Asia isn't the only. Sure. Can anybody hear me now?
There you go.
Okay. So there you go. So sourcing would be the first thing I look at. Asia is not the only place they're made. They're also made in the U.S. I know. I have some. That covers a lot of things, that eliminates the tariffs, that makes them locally sourced, whatnot. The second is the materials. They're throwing away the inserts that are designed to protect the instrument they just bought. So therefore, they are no longer have any protection as they move around the country or whatever they have to do. And so their instruments, their drones can be damaged. If the company, instead of using the fully removable foam inserts, glues them in so that they are custom to that unit, then they will stay in there. That you don't have, people aren't trashing the foam and causing environmental issues. They're still in the case. The case then becomes reusable. If they want to buy another drone, perhaps they could send the case back, pay less for the new drone because they don't have to pay for a new case. Or if they have to send the drone back for repair because they took the foam out, they won't do that. So those are that includes the process of maintaining it in the case and reusing the cases itself.
Perfect. Yeah, that's a great start. The top act to follow. Who'd like to go next? You can also say piggybacking on.
Yeah. So I'd like to piggyback on one of your idea of the material inside. I was thinking using the technology like 3D printing that can recycle the material, reduce the amount of material needed to fill in, the package. And so that's probably a step further, using the latest technology.
Thank you.
Anybody else with a unique idea? Yeah.
Okay, well, what we were talking about was creating a version of the foam lining that would be biodegradable. That way, if they're tossing it, it can at least be recycled or, left somewhere and not create environmental problems at that point. The case is already reusable and the customer's getting value out of it. They're also paying for the case as a part of the product, but the foam is just excess packing material. So making that usable or at least not harmful was the big thing. Also, possibly finding a better manufacturing location that does not get hit with the tariffs so hard. The downside about creating a new version of this foam that wouldn't be biodegradable is now you have the R&D cost up front for whatever that formulation would need to be. So that may end up either increasing the cost of the product or being a cost that the company needs to just eat until it becomes revenue neutral. But yeah.
I want to add a point to that. If you train the users to not throw away the foam, you don't use it.
Yeah. Inside the case is a shock thing. So if you try and pull the foam out, it'll zap.
Yep.
So I had a couple possible ideas, and we discussed some different things here. Obviously, yeah, these Pelican cases, they're completely reusable. I don't know why the military is not putting the drone back in. They're doing something else with the drones afterwards. Maybe they're just transport. Yeah, maybe the drones don't get reused. I don't know. But the cases are still reusable. So possibly the increased 20 to 30% cost from the tariffs could possibly be passed on to the government. Or tell the military, if you return the cases to us, we won't have to increase the costs by 30%. And the government, the military, they have supply chains. Obviously, they ship things out to the field, but I assume in addition to people, they send people back to the U.S. They could probably get the cases back on those same vehicles, planes back to the U.S. That's one option. The other is switch to all cardboard packaging. There are countless examples now of electronics that are now shipped in all cardboard packaging, including the inserts for fragile electronics, the custom molded cardboard inserts now, which protect fragile electronics very well. So maybe that would work for these drones.
component.
I changed my mind.
Biodegradable. Yeah. So that was my only point. You know,
Is it because the paper stuff gets stuck to the optical components?
no, because of the fact that if the cardboard gets damaged, it's wet, anything like that, you have damaged the optics or the components that are there. You got your LiDAR system with lasers. The lasers don't work well when they get wet.
Yeah.
Yeah, so a little bit of a different approach as I'm sitting here thinking. So Jane Doe is a project manager in procurement. I don't know about a lot of you, but a lot of the times we're not the subject matter experts on these things. So I would even would she consider putting out an RFP for vendor work to then explore these different things that we're considering? That would be the first place I would start.
Did you guys go? One more table.
You guys want to go? No. It's already been said. Okay.
Perfect. No, that sounds great. That means a lot of great minds think alike.
So one question based on that is, do you see tax breaks or some advantage for companies to buy into this, to support it? Like what's in it? What's the WIFM for them?
For sustainability?
Sustainability and shipping costs. Like, could you see like a FedEx or DHL or LaserShip or maybe even a company that doesn't exist yet that would just use all sustainable, reusable packaging?
Yeah, so the question is with the sustainable packaging, how is that incentivized? Because I took a couple of notes while everyone was talking, and biodegradable stuff came up a little bit, as well as we're switching back to cardboard, so it's a little bit more biodegradable as well. Amazon, who is one of the worst, anyways, has made great strides with their packaging. There's low carbon days that you can choose to deliver on, so they will delay your delivery or shipment, so you get more packages in the same box. They'll ship in the manufacturer's box instead of adding an additional box around it. And there's also some options there where they're instead of using bubble wrap or peanuts, they'll use like crinkled up brown paper that you usually see at like the butcher shop to pack it instead, and that can be recycled as well. So yes, I do see companies making efforts, making strides. I don't think that it's as far as biodegradable to the point where it's like plant matter or something like that, because there is stuff out there that is completely and truly biodegradable, water soluble, etc. So thank you all for your thoughts. Is there interest in seeing what the consultants proposed? Let's see. Yes.
Also, just for one piece about throwing it away, I just start thinking about it more and more. You can also maybe consider teaching better. Because like if we're being wasteful, I think sometimes we engineer out of our main grades, whereas like we could be cautious and aware of that rather than trying to have to think project. It could just be why are we being what is and maybe give it to her. Yeah, maybe like I said, give it to her.
I'm so glad you said that, because that is definitely what happened during the first part of this discussion. So pardon me for being on my phone, but I just had my 7 steps to sustainable project management up. So when the team looked at this, our sustainability goals, very clear, very evident. Cost savings, carbon footprint, and maintaining Poplar's reliability and reputation. So brand reputation is something I didn't talk about a whole lot, but with greenwashing, it is very scary for a company to be accused of greenwashing because it has really bad PR, really bad press. Any sort of sustainability efforts that are made need to be genuine, they need to be articulate, and they need to be documented to avoid accusations of greenwashing. The most places that you'll see greenwashing occurs a lot in the fashion industry. Fast fashion is a very easy place for greenwashing to occur, where a company will say, oh, look, we're based in the US, we do X, Y, and Z, but then they have warehouses overseas in areas that are not necessarily known for having rights for child labor, et cetera. So with that being said, those are our three, sustainability goals. Stakeholders. So we talked to Poplar, we talked to their manufacturer of Pelican cases, we talked to the field. The individuals that we were able to talk to in the field don't care where they're throwing their inserts. They have to get their stuff back on the truck, back on the road, back in the convoy. Was not a high priority for them to figure out how to throw out or salvage some sort of piece of the inserts and packaging. So unfortunately, that was our first question of, can't you just provide instructions for disposal? No, you cannot. Not at that time. Go ahead. Like, throw it forward on top of the Right, and exactly, and designing the products better would definitely be something as well. And what we're seeing too with some of our clients who maybe are doing technology like this is making it more resilient for individuals who are using it, because maybe you don't have oil and fuel where you're located when you need these products. And to your point, solar panels on a drone makes perfect sense. It can stay aloft, it powers itself, et cetera, et cetera. Maybe flying it across the ocean might be a bit of a problem, but I 100% see your point. But I definitely, I hear and I see the kind of spectrum of RFP, designing the product better, designing the packaging better, and really looking at this from a holistic view, which of course is the point of project management and getting creative. So knowing that it's 6:38, what we did, oh, I'm sorry, 8:38. I'm on military time. You can see where I've been recently. Anyways, so we had three approaches. And again, I know this is a little hard to read for people in the back. So the first one was replacing the styrofoam inserts with the biodegradable option. Ding, 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 whoever said that. Well done. Fantastic. That has the initial impact of reducing Poplar's carbon footprint. Carbon footprint is thrown in there as a buzzword for you all to kind of get used to hearing a little bit. Carbon footprint is how much energy and utility usage you're consuming, which also includes your water and waste. So packaging is part of Poplar's Scope 3 categories, which means that it's the downstream waste that is generated from the products that are sold. So that's something that Poplar will have to be responsible for. If they want to reduce their carbon footprint, they would probably want to look at that as well. The problem with biodegradable options is it's typically more expensive. What we looked at was a startup that had mycelium growing into insert molds, and the mushroom would essentially grow into the mold that you want, and then you just throw it away and it literally degrades in the field, anywhere that you want, no problem. Very cool technology. Very expensive. That's the only problem. And that was not something necessarily that everyone wants to deal with. We also talked about how durability was going to be a problem. So one of the things I said earlier on, these Pelican cases are chucked out of the back of a helicopter. So cardboard, unfortunately, was not something that they were willing to invest in. So that was our first option. Second option was choosing a US-based Pelican manufacturer. So yes, Bill, right here. So that, of course, reduces the risk of high tariffs immediately, just based on the Pelican itself. But how is that Pelican case made? What components go into that Pelican case? So this is where we look at sustainable sourcing and open transparency, because you can say something is made in a country, but if you go all the way back to the raw materials, 9 times out of 10, it is made outside of the US. It is made under maybe questionable circumstances that good companies will try to investigate and really make sure they stand behind what they're doing. So that was a concern with, it's not up here, but that was a concern. It could also jeopardize the existing manufacturers' relationships. So when the chip shortage happened during COVID-19, a lot of manufacturers in the US jumped ship and found different chip manufacturers for their semiconductors. But when they went back for their contracts, they couldn't get them back because their manufacturers had already moved on to someone else. So that's also a concern. And tariffs are incredibly volatile. That's a very difficult area. Import-export is very challenging right now, especially in the current political times, because tariffs are moving every single day. And then our third option was starting a recycling program for the used Pelican cases. So yay for multiple people here who got it. So that's a great, thinking like consultants already. I'll let you know what my billable rates are. So that increases Poplar's shipping capacity because they're getting their Pelican cases back. They're sending it back out with the new tech, with the technology. And they're also recycling materials inside of the Poplar's manufacturing life cycle. The drawback is that shipping, transportation, back and forth, that's part of your scope carbon footprint. So it really depends on what you're prioritizing. Are you prioritizing cost? Are you prioritizing your carbon footprint? Are you prioritizing your reputation? It really depends. We're going to take a vote. Who thinks Poplar went with A? Raise your hand. Who thinks Poplar went with B? Who thinks Poplar went with C? Very nice. They went with all three. They went towards a long-term trajectory of 3 to 5 year horizon that tackled B first in the interim, then C, then A. So they thought about that R&D component, and they thought too, if we can find something that works, that's not water soluble, that can get this equipment there, we can patent it, we can make a lot more money and keep doing what we want to do. Any questions on the case study? That I can't tell you. The question was, how much did they spend? You probably don't want to know. No. They met two of them, which was the carbon footprint and excellent reputation in the short term. In the long term, they could have more cost savings. Go ahead.
So from an information system perspective or legal entity or corporation, small, medium, large, are they going to provide advice to program some idea of full accountability of the businesses or the company making these that anything you can rate there's full accountability that like there's stuff in where
I don't know if I understand the question entirely. Are you asking about supply chain tracing and transparency and how to know if the Pelican case, like all the way back to the beginning of what it was made out of? Or are you asking more about the carbon accounting aspect of how you know that you've made an impact? Or neither? Mhm. Yeah. So the question is what tools are available out there to help us bridge this gap? Is that a good way to summarize it? Yeah, so a lot of ERP systems are working on modules that have a sustainability component. But the workaround, because a lot of people do not want the app, they do not want a new CSO, they don't want to deal with that additional piece, is using the GHG protocol to use what you already have. So the greenhouse gas protocol was established to set a baseline for carbon accounting, and it uses general ledgers, cost expense reports, invoices, etc. So you go to AP, you go to facility leads, you go to your EH&S individuals who have this data already, and then it's data transformation and manipulation to get what you need. Does that help? Sure. Was there a hand over here?
Let's have a balance. And almost anything about having dollars to the associate. It's a matter of it's like with how large a case. They know certain stuff, how that certain small and small. Those are the things that are doors new. What they have. Nothing. That as I come from the system, looks like it's like it's the one.
We want to do a part 2, and I can do a GHG inventory with you all. I don't know if you want that, but we could do that. Alan, do you have a question?
Policy. For example, I think in order for this one to work, you need multiple industries. Some industries will be money, some without favorable policy or government.
Exactly. And that brings me to my last slide, actually. Thank you for helping me transition. Going green is iterative. This is one of my favorite little images of the best way to eat an elephant, which is one bite at a time. So exactly to your point, Alan, it is definitely very difficult to move forward and work towards a better, more sustainable future without having everyone on the same page. And to this woman's point over here as well, Europe's way ahead of us. We are behind. Like the United States is definitely behind compared to Europe. And that gap just keeps widening. So it's important to be ready for when the US does catch up to Europe, because right now, very few companies are prepared to think sustainably. And it starts at the ground. It starts with the people who are implementing, doing operations, the project managers. So if you want to learn more, I have not taken this practitioner course yet. I'm very excited to. The Sustainable Project Management for Certified Practitioners course and the Certified Green Project Manager exam will give you more information that digs deeper into P5, PRISM, and the 7 steps of sustainable management. I think we're at time. So I apologize for keeping you all so late. Thank you so much.
And the GPMB is around I think a $400 commitment for members. So if your companies have a education and training allowance, this would be a nice innovative way. Even if you're not 100% bought in, like the curriculum could at least give you a different perspective on things. But another round of applause for Julia. And we thank our virtual members for sticking with us. We know during the PrAC app, we'll have a follow-up to this with a little bit more interactiveness, but appreciate your attendance and everyone in the room. Thank you for being members. We look forward to having this attendance and more at our March meeting featuring Marcus Parker, and get home safe, and thank you again. And just a quick saved round, you should be getting an email with an e-ballot election for board members. We have 2 new positions, a vice president of technology and innovation and vice president of marketing and operations, as well as some re-elections for current board members. So vote early and often. Thank you.